What is going on, guys? So I wanted to talk to you about what I do in the Marine Corps on a daily basis, like what my MOS is. So I am in aviation supply. I work with the MALS. So right now I'm assigned to a MALS, which is Marine Aviation Logistics Squadron. We are underneath the MAG, Marine Aviation Group, right? So I'm a 6672, that's what the code is. And there's different sections underneath 6672. So you go to the schoolhouse in Meridian, Mississippi, and you pretty much learn quickly what all of them do. There's different sections. They just changed the desktop, which is kind of like our standard and operating procedures. So they've kind of changed some things around. I think it used to be like 9 divisions or 7, and now it's 5. So pretty much like the basic ones is you're gonna have your warehouse, of course, and that's where you could possibly be a receiving Marine. So the ones who are getting all the parts and things like that that are dropping off from FedEx, receiving it into the warehouse. You can be an issuing Marine, which means you are taking those parts off the shelf or whatnot and giving them to the squadrons or work centers, whoever needs them, things like that. I mean, warehouse, normal type stuff, right? There are different types of things that we have to deal with as far as parts go, so there's more into that. I'm not going to go into that because I don't deal with it that much. Now, what I do is I work on the other side. I don't actually do hands-on with parts, picking, pulling, stowing, things like that. I actually work more on the technical side. So I'm in what they call OMD, Operations Management Division. And so what I do, in a nutshell, my whole team, we make sure that whoever is ordering the parts are ordering them correctly. So we have different codes as far as the priority, I guess you could say, of the parts. So you may order a bolt, right? That may screw into this little piece over here, but somebody may be ordering like a whole blade for one of the aircrafts, which is, the choppy things on helicopters and things like that. One of those whole blades. Obviously that blade is going to be a little bit more important than that one bolt, right? So we have different codes that breaks it down. So what we do is we make sure, number one, they're ordering the right thing, because some of the Marines that are ordering this from the squadron side or from the work center side don't know exactly what they need. We have certain documents that tell us breakdowns of kind of like what they need and things like that. And we just want to make sure we're getting the right thing. Also, we want to make sure that what we're getting them is actually going to come in, right? Some things may take a little while to make or something like that. Obviously, blades are pretty big. You would think that we'd have a bunch of them, but that's not the case. They're huge. We can't necessarily store that many of them depending on what happens. So what I do is I work what we call the high prize. So I deal with all of the parts that are holding an aircraft down, meaning they cannot fly. Or if they can fly, they won't be flying very long. So I deal with different reports and different things that we have to escalate all the way up. So I actually deal with officers a lot. Don't get me wrong, I deal with a wide variety of Marines on a day-to-day basis, but I do deal a lot with officers because they're the ones calling saying, hey, I need my parts, what's the soonest I can get it? And so I try to help expedite that. Like I said, not only do I make sure that they're ordering the right thing, but I'm trying to make sure that they get their parts as fast as possible, as quickly as possible. That's pretty much what I do. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you have 10, 11, 12, 13 aircraft with one squadron, and you have 10 squadrons alone, not including your deployed squadrons that are out there that you may be supporting, any workups that may be going on, like WTI, which is like the weapons and trainings, instruction or tactic, weapons, training, tactics, something, whatever, in, I think it's Arizona, whenever we're supplying those as well. It's a lot, because if you think about it, you have 10 squadrons with anywhere from 10 to 13 aircraft by themselves, you're looking at over 100 something aircraft that you're having to provide for. And they fly these aircraft like they're in wartime, so that way they can always be ready. That way they can make sure that these aircrafts are ready for, you know, the time in need. We're always supposed to be ready, right? So that's pretty much what I do. I have a lot of meetings, I have a lot of expediting, I have a lot of dealings with officers, and if you've ever worked in any type of warehouse type job, like production in a way, where you're producing maybe car parts, you're producing plastics for somebody, things like that, it's pretty much like the same type of demand, if you will. I'm getting in these orders or whatnot, and I'm having to sort through and decide which one is more important, and how can I get it, whether there's nothing out there and I can't call anybody and go, hey, can you give this to me, you know, we'll pay you back when ours comes in or whatever. I gotta call whoever makes the parts or whoever is dealing with those parts, so that way they can get in touch with whoever makes the parts going, hey, can we expedite this whole contract? There's a lot that goes into it, and that's why it's a little different, and not one person can do this job, because there's, like I said, multiple reports, multiple things. And what I do, my report that is a daily function, I'm trying to figure out how to word this without like giving way too much information, but it's a daily function, so we do this daily. And when I say I mean like all of the high pri Marines that work in OMD. It's not just me. We deal with this report, and it actually goes all the way up to the MAG, and they are tracking on what we are doing, because they have to be in the know of which aircrafts are ready, which aircrafts is here, what's going on, all this stuff. So it's actually super important. But in a nutshell, that is what I do for the Marine Corps as a 6672. I wake up, of course. I'm not one of those that likes to do morning PT. We actually PT at Chow. So I get there at 06:30, get my day started with a cup of coffee and go ahead starting on my reports, everything like that. I have to make sure that the squadrons are still getting what they need. Like I said, which one, if 2 squadrons order the same thing and I can only get 1, I have to decide which one I want to give it to and why. And I will get asked, why did you give it to this one versus this one? Oh, because this one is going on deployment in 3 weeks. This one's still gonna be here. We have more time. They're not going on deployment. You know, things like that. I have to justify pretty much everything that I do. And what I do gets looked at by not only my officers, but the officers at the squadrons, and then the higher ups at like MAG and things like that. So that's pretty much what I do on a daily basis. Work with the squadrons, work with the work centers, because we have work centers that repair parts and things like that here. And I have to make sure, hey, do you still need this? Yes, you do. Okay, can I get it to you faster, and why? And things like that. Like I said, PT at Chow. After that, come back, hit the books again, see where I can get parts, things like that. And then roughly about 1/2 down, and then roughly about 16:30, that's when I'll be getting out of work. Supply is a 24 operation, so squadrons are flying and working, we're definitely working, hands down. So we are 24/7. We have a day crew, a night crew, and a mid crew. And then even on the weekends, there's always somebody that is here. We call it 24-hour duty. I'm sure some of you are familiar, but instead of doing 24-hour duty at like the barracks or watching things like that, you are doing 24-hour duty at your job, and you're the only one there. And most of the time, obviously, not everybody is working on the weekends. It's either 1 or 2 squadrons, or like the ones that are out on deployment or things like that. So you're pretty much there for them, and it's not as high volume as it is during the week when you have all 10 squadrons or whatnot. So yeah, that's what I do. If you have any questions, feel free to comment and ask. What I do here at my MAUs may be different than other MAUs, because they may not have as many squadrons, or you know, things like that. They may have a little bit more time to do other things. I know that we are one of the busiest MALs with the heaviest workload as far as squadrons goes and work centers and things like that. I believe that we support more, at least I can say so. We are for sure the busiest MALs on the West Coast. I'm not sure who is the busiest MALs on the East Coast, but yeah, if you have any questions about a 6672, I have friends that work around. Obviously, I can ask them, hey, what do you do that is different from what I do, and things like that. So I'll try to get those answered for you if you have them. Till next time.